The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. What is going on, my Go Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 203, I believe. Today's date is Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. We are live as always on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever it's pushing out. If you're out there in the live chat, please say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you are listening in replay or listening in podcast form, the conversation does not have to stop. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and utilize the comment section below. Before we get going, I want to quick shout out Ricardo Lucy out there throwing some muscle. $10 super chat says, hey. So thank you, Ricardo. We appreciate you very much. We don't ask for them, nor do we encourage them, but if you do send super chats, they do go towards sending care packages to our troops downrange. So all that stuff. But yeah, thanks to Ricardo. Appreciate you, bro. Like I said, if you're out there, if you're new to the channel, new to the show, go ahead and let us know you're out there. Tell us where you're from. We cannot promise you that we're going to make you any smarter. We just hope to God we don't make you any dumber, but there's no promises. We just try to have a little fun and talk cool topics. If you want to call in, yes, you can call into the show or you can text into the show. You can utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends over at sportsmansguide.com. That phone number is 530-364-4678. If you're a veteran or really anyone, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that dark hole, you can't find the light, you're starting to question if there is light out there. First of all, please call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I sure as hell might be a decent ear to listen to you and talk you through some stuff. But if you are looking for someone that can get you medical advice and get you really honest to God help, please remember two things. One, you're not alone. You've got a lot of brothers and sisters out here that are willing to help you in any way possible. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline. That number is 1-800-273-8255 and press the number 1. Once again, 1-800-273-8255, the Veteran Crisis Hotline. As always, we're going to spotlight the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, see the website, marines.com. And as always, we are a very proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. It's a great website where you can find a lot of great pro-2A, pro-gun, pro-freedom podcasts all in one area. So if you're looking for some new podcasts or some of your favorite podcasts are probably over there, go check out selfdefenseradio.net. Let me get this off of my ugly mug and welcome in who has basically turned into our quasi co-host at this point from the great state of Texas, the leprechaun. What's up, Clove? How you doing, man?
Do you have to press 1 for English, or just curious? Why you have to press 1?
Well, I've been looking at all the stuff they sent me, and so this is the National Suicide Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. To get to the veteran side of it, where it's a dedicated for veterans, your first thing is going to be to press 1.
Oh, okay.
Anyone can call, but if you want to get to the VA side and the veteran side, but it'll be one of your first options when you do call. It'll say for this, press 1 and all that. I usually don't mention that, but I was just kind of looking at my ball here and see. I don't know if you can see where it says press 1. So I was like, oh, well, then press 1. So for some people, it might help out. Mitch out there says, shout out from South Florida. Cherry here, though I'm a subscriber and have commented very often. So Welcome to the live travesty, if you will. Let's go ahead and say hello to everybody out there. You got Gun Loving Grandpa. I call him Uncle Bucks out there. Rich White, the 1%'s out there. We said Lucy's out there. Thank you once again for the super chat. Appreciate you, Lucy. Rod Gates, our homeboy Rod Gates, had a nice, I don't know, we talked for about an hour this weekend on the phone, and it's always good to talk with him and Shelly. Shelly was on the phone as well, so had a good talk with them. So it's nice always see them. I think, Clover, they're working on trying to get a booth at Wanamaker this November. That was kind of the meaning of the call. But I think they're going to try to go to Wanamaker. I don't know if they're going to get a booth, but they're going to go to Wanamaker, I think. And so it'd be nice to see. We haven't seen them in a couple of years, so it'd be great to see them. Our favorite squid out there, Keith Gregory. What's up, squid? Let's see here. 223 DMR's out there. He says, "Hey, Ghost. Hey, Grandpa." And Ricardo says, "Yeah, support our troops." And if you guys notice out there, Ricardo's name is in a different color, and he's got a little crayon next to him. He's a channel member, so I want to say thank you to all of my channel members and all my patrons out there that help support the channel. We couldn't do this without you. Can't keep the lights on without you guys, so it's very much appreciated. Once again, we're not asking for you guys, but if you feel like you want to maybe support, it only costs you $1 or so. So go over there. So this is a new one. Haven't seen him out here before. He said, United States Colonial Marine M56 Smart Gunner. That is one hell of a name. One hell of a name. But I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Welcome to the dark side, my friend. Mystics out there. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see here. Who else is out? George Washington. Do I call him General Washington or Mr. President? I've always had that. There's a part of me wants to call him General Washington. But do you call him General President or President General or just President or just General? I don't know. But anyways, George Washington, he's out there a lot. He says, "Good evening, citizens. Always keep your rifles cleaned and lubed and always reconfirm 0. And don't forget to hydrate." No joke. Especially right now, it is really hot out there in a lot of places. So yeah. Mandatory carries out there. So this is an obvious dog whistle about something or other. Keep fighting. Say hi to Angel, please. What's up, Angel? And always good to see mandatory carry out there. Good dude. Good dude. McCo Joe is Clover calls him. I don't know. MK Joe. I don't know what he wants to be called, but McCo Joe is I think what you call him. He's out there. Glenn Robertson is hi from Michigan. Hi, Glenn Robertson. I don't remember that name either. So welcome to the dark side. I hope you enjoy yourself. We're going to have a fun time with some different topics tonight. And Rod says, we got the booth. Fantastic. Got a booth. So he'll be down there in Tulsa this November. Let's see here. And I think that's, if I missed you, I'm sorry. Go ahead and say something. And throughout the show, like I said, if you've got a comment, tag myself or Clover or whatever. We'll try to get those questions or comments read. Obviously you can text them in or call them in, and we'll put you live on the show if you want to put your voice out there and all of that good stuff. How you been doing, bro? Everything good?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they you had a cool weekend apparently. This was a landmark weekend for you, huh?
Well, I don't know about that. Anniversary.
It was an important weekend. Maybe not a landmark, but it was an important one.
Yeah, just out in the heat advisory this weekend. It was rough. It was rough being outdoors this weekend for sure.
Yeah, we had last, I want to say Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It was over 100 all 3 days. It was heat index is like around 110 to 113. It was just brutal. Right now, the last couple of days have been like 88, which is really isn't bad, but it's supposed to get to like 97 again this weekend. So yeah, if you're out there, make sure you're hydrating, because here's the thing: what a lot of people don't realize is if you're going to be outside, let's say tomorrow, you can't start drinking water tomorrow morning and be hydrated. You need to start a couple days ahead of time. And the best way to do it is just to drink a couple bottles of water every day, whether you go outside or not. But if you drink a lot of sodas or sweet tea and a lot of stuff, then you're going to be outside all day. It's too late at that point. It's almost too late. And we had a guy pass out here last week and had to go to the hospital. Was severe dehydration. So it was kind of scary there for a while. For a while, but yeah, it's one of those things where make sure you're hydrating. Absolutely, make sure you're hydrating.
Well, and alternate you some Gatorade in there too.
Yeah, I think they said
helps.
for every 2 or 3 bottles of water, you should drink a bottle of Gatorade. But it should not be the other way around. You shouldn't drink like 3 bottles of Gatorade and 1 bottle of water. It needs to be flipped.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Don't drink just Gatorade, please, because that's bad.
It's just as bad with too much. Yeah, a lot of sugar, a lot of salt, almost too much. You know, electrolytes are good, but you can get too much of that, and not enough just regular water.
It helps with the whole idea. The reason it was invented was to help with water absorption. So you're not drinking water; it's not doing any good.
Some of the salt and sodium and stuff that you sweat out, not to hydrate you, is to replenish.
Yeah.
Now Bernie out there says nothing better than a cold beer to hydrate. I'm not a beer guy, but yeah, there's as long as you're drinking water with the beer, good to go. Good to go. If you're going to be out there in the lake or something and it's hot and you're drinking nothing but beer, well, the good thing is you'll be a pretty cheap date because chances are you'll get drunk much, much faster.
Well, if you're drinking the light beer, that's pretty much just water anyway, right?
Oh, wow. Shots fired. Shots fired out there. So what's your beer choice if you had to drink one?
None.
If you had to drink one.
If I had to drink one, probably some type of Sam Adams, probably.
Okay, sure.
If you're going to force me to drink a beer, I mean, it's going to be something Sam Adams, most likely.
Yeah. My favorite beer is a Texas beer, go figure. But it's called Shinerbach, and I love a Shinerbach.
It's okay.
So I'm not a big beer guy, but if I was going to drink one, it would be a Shinerbach for sure. So it is what it is. So we put up there, pinned in the comment up there, to make sure you go vote in our polls, Ghost Tactical polls over there in our community tab. And we put them out. We put 2 or 3 out a week, and we talk about them during the show. So let's kind of have some fun. So this one I put out 3 days ago. It's got almost 400 votes. The question is, and I'll ask this to Clover as well, kind of taking the Olympic theme here. And by the way, I love doing these polls. They're kind of fun. And I think people enjoy them and all that because we try to have fun with them. But going with the Olympic theme here, synchronized swimming. Everyone knows what synchronized swimming is, correct? So if one synchronized swimmer drowns, are the rest of them required to drown too? We've had almost 400 votes, and it's coming in at 70% say yes. Yes. The other ones are required to drown too. So there's some weird people out there. WB says Miller Lite. Buck says Coors Light. I used to drink a lot of Coors Light in high school. A lot of Coors Light. I drink a lot of Lone Star Light. And if you're a Texas person, then you know what Lone Star Light's flavored piss. But it was $6 a case. And they didn't have 30 packs back then. It was 24 can cases, but it was $6 a case. It was terrible, but it was cheap. My drink of choice now is Crown. If I'm going to drink, it's usually Crown. I'm not a beer guy much anymore. So real quick, before we go to the next poll, Smart Gunner says, going to buy my first, no, scratch that. I'm picking up his first shotgun tomorrow with 250 rounds of birdshot. Do you guys like I should go with that for home defense or something else? I'll tell you this much, and I'll let Clover come in here also. If that's what you have, any kind of firearm that you have could be utilized for home and self-defense. So if that's what you have, then absolutely. A shotgun, I think, is a wonderful choice possibly for home defense.
Yeah, so he's thinking hard right now, just so everybody knows. He's thinking really, really hard. We'll see if he comes back or not. His phone probably updated. It does it every Tuesday, and he knows that. I don't know why he don't set it to where it doesn't cause a problem. But, yeah, so I'll pick up, I guess, where he left off, and I'll say that Well, shotgun can't. I mean, shotgun's been getting it done for a long, long time. As far as home defense on the farm and the range and what have you. One concern I have with the firearm itself is the overall length. Modern, urban housing, stuff like that. People obviously back in the day had the shotguns, the long ones for hunting and all kinds of other purposes, right? So if you've got it strictly for the purpose of like a home defense situation, I would think a shorter barrel would be obviously more optimal for that. The idea of birdshot in a shotgun for any type of a defensive situation, I'm not going to say why. There's folks out there in the chat that can explain probably why without me saying it live on the air, but I think that birdshot in it probably not the most optimal thing. But at the end of the day, you use what you got. And Ghost is back. Yay.
I thought I fixed the update, but apparently it did not. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to my phone, for some reason, it automatically updates at like 7:15 on Tuesday nights. Wrong time for it to update. So I need to figure that out. But so I'm sorry. So I don't know where I was cut off, but obviously you were talking about the shotgun and birdshot.
Well, you just barely had got started about you really didn't say anything. You were fixing to give your opinion.
Yeah, my whole point is if it's what you have, then anything that you have can be utilized for self or home defense. Is it maybe the greatest thing in the world? Maybe not. But if you have it and that's what you have, then absolutely. I think shotgun is a very viable option. Especially, I don't know, birdshot. I don't know if that's where I would go. But once again, if that's what you have, I promise you, if someone tries to bust down your door, it probably won't be there that long. So yeah, use it. Whatever you got is worth it. So yeah. So the next polls is, now this one got a little heated in some of the comments, and I think some people didn't realize it was a joke, but it's okay. It's part of the conversation. 365 votes. The question is, are you concerned that doctors and lawyers call their businesses practices? For almost 400 votes, but 58% of you said, yes, you are concerned that doctors and lawyers call their businesses practices. And so it's one of those things where I thought it was a pretty funny question, but apparently I pissed off some people that might either be lawyers or doctors, and they explained to me why it's called a practice. And I was like, it's a joke. I just thought it was funny that lawyers and doctors, they do call their businesses practices instead of whatever. So I thought it was pretty funny. Are you concerned, Clover, that doctors and lawyers call their businesses practices?
Not really. I mean, it fits with the definition. I mean, there's several definitions of the word practice, and I mean, it kind of fits with all of the definitions in a way, right? So you've got the application is a practice. The application of, right, is practice, and that's what they're doing. They're applying a skill, and then you've got the action of applying the skill, which is practice, and they're doing that. And you don't practice to get better at stuff. You practice to remain proficient as well, right?
Yeah.
So just because you're practicing something doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think other businesses should use that. I think, the burger flippers at McDonald's and whatnot. He's thinking hard again, so we've got another issue. He's too quiet, and he's thinking way too hard at this point. So his phone apparently did not finish updating. And I don't know what the other polls are. So the polls is. So what do we got in the chat, though, while we're waiting? 223 says 12 gauge with some tee shot. Possibly. Claudio Barrett out there says it's a 12 gauge, 21-inch barrel. Not bad. Tactical pistol grip. There you go. What about double aught buck? Yeah. Double aught buck will work. It's honestly hard to find multiple, varying types of buckshot nowadays. Double aught, honestly, might find some triple aught, but double aught's about it anymore. And he's back.
I don't know. Now I'm just pissed. I have no idea. I was getting ready to quote Guitar Man Pete out there. It says, pistols put holes in you. Rifles put holes through you. Shotguns with the right load at the right distance will take a chunk of shit off your opponent. You'll need a professional to clean up. So I guess you were answering what Smart Gunner was saying is a 12 gauge, 21 inch barrel tactical pistol grip. Sounds like maybe a Mossberg, like a 500 tactical or 570 maybe with a pistol grip. Is it 570 with a pistol grip? Can't remember.
You can get them either way. So
yeah. George Washington out there says, love a good old 870, preferably with the minimal length barrel with a +3 extension loaded with a 3-inch all brass shells loaded with number 4 butt, preferably with a flight control wad. Yeah. I like 2 3/4 when I shoot my shotgun, but obviously they can. And yes, mandatory. I am annoyed. I don't know what the hell's going on. So
keep in mind, if you're out there and you're looking at shotgun ammunition, number 4 buck and number 4 shot are 2 different things. Don't get them confused.
What's that?
No, number 4 buck and number 4 shot are 2 different things.
Shot, yeah.
So make sure you're paying attention to the box. Don't get confused. Pick up number 4 shot. You think, oh, what a deal. No, because it's number 4 shot, not number 4 buck. So there is a difference.
Yeah, he says he's a noob gun owner. It's not a name. It doesn't have to be name brand, as long as it works and it runs and you're
curious. I'm curious what is it?
Yeah, I would like to know what the name of it is, because you're
probably not going to get shamed.
No, God, no.
Yeah, probably have experience with it. So yeah, throw it out there. We don't mind.
So Pete out there says, this is one of the topics we're going to talk about is ammo prices. Pete says, I've been seeing 223, but I'm not paying 75 cents per round. I've seen them a lot lower. Matter of fact, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of Max Tech, MAXX Tech ammo?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard of it, but I found it on Ammo Seeker, had it out there. You can get 1,000 rounds for $300, about 30 cents a round. And that's just about as good as I've seen. It's brass, full metal jacket. But I've never heard of Max Tech, so I didn't know if you ever heard of it or not, if it's any good. If anyone's out there has heard of Max Tech ammo, 9mm, let me know if it's good, because if it is decent, like I said, it's still a little bit high, but it's the best I've seen in over a year. To get 1,000 rounds for 30 cents a round, it's not bad. And it comes with a free ammo can, which I've got ammo. I got ammo cans just stacked over here, but it does come with a free ammo can and all that. But yeah, if you guys have heard of Max Tech, let me know. TJ's out there. What's up, TJ? Gun Loving Grandpa says double-aught buck and 1 ounce slugs. So let me ask you this, and you might have covered this while I was wherever the hell I was in the internet world. But with a shotgun, okay, what would be, like, if you answer this, I apologize, but maybe there's some new people here also. What if for a shotgun, and he says 12 gauge, I believe, I think is what he says, 12 gauge,
21 inch barrel.
What would you recommend for a home defense load?
I would probably say for the novice, I'd probably say double-aught buck, which I think that would probably suffice in a 21-inch barrel.
George says 7.62 by 39 is almost my full-time defensive and all-around cartridge now. Can't go wrong with that. I love the X39. Wonderful cartridge. So Buck says he shot it in 9mm, the Max Tech, I guess. No problems with it. So like I said, I might wait a little bit to see if it keeps coming down. If I get it down to like maybe 25 cents a round or something like that. But I was happy to see the 30 cents per round. It's every week. I think last week I saw the lowest price for some steel case Tula was like 33 cents a round. So I think it's just gradually going to start coming back down, which is nice.
It is. And there were several people that called it that said, summertime this year would start, it would start back. There's a lot of people saying, oh, it's going to be over into 2022. And, nah, not so much. Another thing, I don't know if people are watching or not, but lumber is coming down as well. So there's a lot of things that spiked from the cough last year, and they're all starting to level back down, drop. They haven't leveled out yet, but they're starting to drop now.
And I wonder if the price drop is also due to the supply starting to kind of come back in as well. It's starting like my Walmart shelves have been empty for a year and a half. They're full now. So that's nice to see.
Well, you got more people back to work, and you got to realize when you've got 6 foot spacing between people in warehouses and whatnot, right? You've got an issue where, you got less people working, you can move less product around, you can do a lot less stuff. So when you talk about the ability to get your workforce back into play, that makes a big difference with the supply side of things. I think people have been working really hard on the supply side of things, the people that were there and able to do it. So, I don't want to knock them and say they haven't been doing their job, because they've been doing 3 people's work, unfortunately, for the last year. But yeah, I mean, I think you're seeing a thing where demand in a lot of different things, demand is dropping off, and the supply is starting to creep and ramp up. And when that happens, you're going to get lower prices. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Now Pete says that he hears that 25 cents per ounce coming. He doesn't think it'll happen. I do. I think that 25 cents. Now let's just take this for instance, like the Winchester white box, Blazer brass, the Remington UMC green box, and all that. The ones that you could get for, $10 to $12 a box of 50. I think that, those 15 to 20 cent per round ammo, I think that you will see those down to about 25. I don't think you'll ever see them back under 20, at least not for a while, maybe ever. But I do think you'll see them at 25. I think the new norm for now, and we talked about this last week, and Clover brought up inflation and everything else, but I do think that 25% to 30% per round is probably going to be the new norm. So you're still talking about a box that you might have gotten for $10. You might pay $13 a box. That's probably natural. That's going to happen. But I do think it's going to get down to 25 cents. I really do. And some of it, that Winchester white box level, I do believe that it might not be 20 cents ever again, or 18 cents or whatever it was. I think 25 is a very reasonable. It might even break 25. It might get down to like 23, 24. But I think it'll be around that 25 cents. But I do think it will happen for sure. Mm-hmm. Lucy says he wants tracer ammo to go down. I've still got some 22 and 9mm tracer over there that I need to shoot sometime. But
that's always been boutique.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking like 50 BMG. I know once upon a time 50 tracer was cheap and for 50 BMG, but tracer's some dirty stuff too.
Yep. And you got to be careful about maybe burn bans in your area if it's been really, really dry. And one's not going to do it. But if you're going to throw a lot of tracers down range, you need to make sure that everything's good to go around there, because it could start a fire. It's not likely, but it could. All right. So the next poll question we put out yesterday, and it's got almost 600 votes, and it kind of worked out what I thought. But I said best movie spy, and your choices were Jason Bourne, James Bond, Ethan Hunt, Nikita, or other. Leave a comment. And with 60% of the vote, James Bond, 25% of the vote is Jason Bourne. Ethan Hunt, which is Mission Impossible, gets 6%. Nikita got 4%, and other got 5%. And let's go kind of take a look at some of the ones that they're saying. Austin Powers. Let's see here. Robert Redford and Brad Pitt in Spy Games. John Patrick Mason, the movie The Rock with Sean Connery. David Prather, there's this Mr. Bean, No Contest. There you go. Let's see here. Simon Templar. So people may not know Simon Templar, but Simon Templar was from the movie The Saint. It was Val Kilmer's. If you haven't seen The Saint, do yourself a favor and go watch The Saint sometime. It's a wonderful movie. Maxwell Smart from Get Smart. Mr. Bean makes another appearance. So there's Mr. Bean. You know, I love Mr. Bean, but yeah, I figured James Bond was going to win that. And I figured Jason Bourne would probably come in second. And honestly, James Bond with only 60%, I thought it'd be higher than that, honestly. So let me ask you guys this. I'm going to ask Clover this, and I'll ask you guys out there. Of the James Bonds, who's your favorite? Mine is hands down Sean Connery. But who's your favorite James Bond, Clover?
Well, I mean, Sean Connery, of course. Just like, I don't know what kind of savage you are if you answer any differently than Sean Connery. It's like, come on, man. What world do you live in?
My wife really likes Daniel Craig, but I think it's because she thinks he's hot.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He over Pierce Brosnan. It's going to be a chick, and it's going to be a look related thing. You ask a dude, and it's going to be Connery.
Maybe Roger Moore. But most of
some of the Roger Moore Bond movies were pretty good movies, but just because the movie was a better movie does not mean that I prefer Moore over Connery.
No, I hear you. Now, Jacob out there is a young man, is his early 20s. He said, I have only watched the first James Bond movie, currently in the process of beginning them. Have fun, young man. Enjoy. Now, Rich says that Daniel Craig was the closest to Bond from the books, but understand, I want to say it was the first 6, maybe 7 of the movies were books. Everything after that were he only wrote so many James Bond books. So after, I want to say it was like maybe 1967, 68, somewhere in there. Everything after that were not taken from books, as there were no more books. Ian Fleming only wrote so many of the James Bond books, so it's pretty cool. Now we had this discussion. I think we had this discussion. May not. I had a discussion with someone about and I like him as an actor, and I think he could have been great. But Timothy Dalton, great actor. Yeah, I think it was a phone call, but Timothy Dalton, I think, could have been a really good Bond. The problem with Timothy Dalton is he followed the Connery Moore era. Had he been 1 or 2 more away from that era, I like Timothy Dalton as an actor. I just don't think he was in the wrong place in the wrong Bond.
Yeah, I two things I think when I think about Bond and Timothy Dalton, and I like the Bond movies for the most part. With Timothy Dalton, they're not garbage, in my opinion.
No,
anyway,
they're not. But he got thrashed as Bond.
So first of all, the first thing that pops in my mind with Timothy Dalton as Bond, he's just a big dude, and I don't view Bond as a big dude. I view Bond as a little scrawny guy, right? He's just not a big. So and then
Craig's a big guy,
Yeah. So that's what first pops in my head with Timothy Dalton. So, and I think without Timothy Dalton, I don't think Pierce Brosnan has the longevity he had. Somebody had to break out of that Roger Moore mold. And I don't think whoever it was, whatever actor took that spot over, I think they were doomed to only make a few films, right? Because it had to ease people into a different Bond. Does that make sense? And so whoever it was, I don't think was going to ultimately be well received. But then after that, it was like, okay, we have to have it. People realize we have to have a different Bond, right? And then they brought in Brosnan, and Brosnan's got a pretty good following as a Bond.
A lot of people did not think that Brosnan was, how do I put this, manly enough for Bond. But if you look at what the character of James Bond it wasn't supposed to be a Jason Bourne kind of a kick your ass guy. It was a guy that's going to manipulate you. He was going to be able to manipulate anyone he comes around to get the information he wants. An attractive guy that's high society. Pierce Brosnan fits that bill perfectly. Yeah. So I mean, he is. Now, so let's put a question out there now. If Daniel Craig, when his contract's over and he chooses not to become stay Bond anymore, is there an actor out there that you know now that you think would be a really great James Bond?
Aren't they toying with the idea of Idris Elba or whatever?
That's what I've heard.
That could be interesting.
It could be very interesting, and I like it because I love him as an actor. The first time I remember seeing him, I want to say it was Pacific Rim. It was the first time I was like, man, I like that dude. But that would be a wonderful. I like him as an actor, and I think he'd be a good Bond. But I don't know.
Yeah, but he's got kind of that native accent already.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, he certainly. I don't want to say he cleans up well, but you know what I mean. I mean, he's got that. Sure. High society, regal type, classy look about him.
He's got a great voice, a Connery-esque voice. That's the thing about Connery. He didn't have a great voice, but when you hear Connery's voice, you knew it was Connery.
Yeah. And he's also got the action experience. You know what I mean? So it's not weird. It's not like what you were talking about when Brosnan comes into the picture, right? It's like nobody really knew Brosnan as like this action guy. So
because he was this comedy romance, and people remember from Remington Steele and back in the 80s and all of that. Right. I'll tell you one that I wouldn't mind seeing just because I like him as an actor. It would I think he'd bring a funny twist to it. Oh my God, I just left my freaking oh my God.
What do you want, like a comedic Bond?
No, Hugh Grant. I would like Hugh Grant because Hugh Grant, I think, would be he is not a physical action star, but I think he would kind of fit that Brosnan kind of good with the ladies, smart ass enough to have fun with stuff. But I think Hugh Grant, and he's at that age now where he's not young to where he's that kind of. I don't think that James Bond was ever young. He was that veteran, older, experienced guy. I don't know. Hugh Grant just pops in my mind. I think it'd be great. But I do think that, there's a lot of great ones out there. There's a great question out here. Jacob out there. Who would win in a fight for life? Bond, Rambo, Terminator, or Vader? Vader.
Oh, duh.
Hands down, Vader. I mean, let's be real. Now, you take Vader out of that, I think Terminator wins because he's a freaking robot, man.
It was Bond.
Bond gets killed. Bond's Rambo, Terminator, Vader. Bond is going to die the first, no matter what. If you
Bond's
take Vader out of it, Rambo and Terminator could be an interesting one.
But even Rambo couldn't handle a Terminator. Come on.
No, that's what I'm saying. Terminator's a robot. So, I mean, Vader's going to win hands down regardless. Bond is coming in dead ass last regardless. Let's see here. RoboCop doesn't even have a Death Star. Yeah.
It's funny.
Pete says the Beretta 93R is my dream gun. That's got to be up there. It's one of them. That Glock 18, I mean, that's for as far as handguns. Yeah, those two. I think if I had to choose one, I probably would choose the Beretta over the Glock 18.
I would.
They both freaking badass.
The 93R is far more rare.
Yep.
Too.
And honestly, a 3-shot burst is a lot easier to control in a situation than just a full auto handgun. That 3-round burst would be badass. I'm all for it. And then the question that we posed today, let me go back. And there's already let's see here. Let me refresh it. There's already 267 votes today. We can get your gun fill. For long range caliber, and I'm not saying for hunting or for precision shooting, just long range caliber, which one do you enjoy the most? Not which one's the best, which one do you enjoy the most? Your choices are 338 Lapua, 50 BMG, 6.5 Creed, 300 Win Mag, or other. Leave a comment. Right now, leading with 31% is 6.5 Creed, which is a little bit surprising. In second place is 300 Win Mag at 20%. Other is 18%. 338 Lapua at 17, and 50 BMG is 13. So let's go down to the comments and see. They're saying a 7mm mag and Weatherby heavy barrel. That's from 223 DMR. A lot of 30-06s out there. One says, if you're going for distance, nothing beats a 22-250. It may not have knockdown power, but it definitely has the distance. 6.5 Grendel was mentioned. 308, 264 Win Mag. Let's see here. 308 again. 6.5 PRC or 300 PRC. 308, 308, 308, 6.5 PRC. The 7mm Magnum. 30-06, 375 Gibbs. What is a 375 Gibbs, Clove? I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's pretty bad to the bone. Yeah.
I've never even heard of it. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Think like 40. Trying to think of something I can put into your terms, but you're not into thud guns enough to like say it's like this, right? Think about a cross between like a 300 Winchester Magnum and a 45-70, maybe. I think they had like a love child or something, maybe.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. 50 Beowulf was mentioned. 7.62 by 54R was mentioned.
Who in the heck mentioned Bayo for distance? You said long range, right?
Long range caliber. 50 Beowulf was mentioned.
Bayo is not a long range. I mean, I guess you could shoot it.
Power, but
it's gonna be a heck of a drop. But yeah, I guess you could. You could shoot 22 long range, I guess, if you wanted to.
Shoot 22 out to a mile if you wanted to. You know.
Yeah. That's true.
Pete says that he was shooting in the desert last week and his 92 doubled on him. Just about freaked out. Dirty gun with a nice light trigger. Who knows what caused it? It very well could have been some grit got on that trigger or whatever. But yeah, if you've never had, I've had that with several guns happen. But yeah, if you've never had a little double tap without expecting it, yeah, it can freak you out for a second there. You're like, whoa, I didn't know there's a binary in this thing. But yeah, those are fun. But yeah, it happens, man. And it's probably just got a little dirt in there and no problem. Just clean it out and you'll be good to go.
So 50 didn't get a whole lot of love in that, did it?
Let's see. No, 50 was in last place. Yeah, 50 was in last place.
You got to wonder how many people have shot a 50, because the answer, my answer to that, if the question was worded, what long range caliber do you shoot the most, then I would say 308.
308.
But the key word in that to me,
enjoy. Yeah.
The key word in that to me is enjoy. And there is nothing like spending the day behind a 50, man. It is just, there's nothing you can't do. Nothing you can't do with the 50.
Yeah. Yeah. Jacob says the only calibers I have shot are 22 long rifle, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 30-30, 30-06, a 380, and 243. All good, my man. All good. G23 says 417.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Sean White says 300 PRC or 6.5 PRC would be his go-to long range cartridges if he was in the market. Christensen carbon fiber MRP or Proof Elevation MTR carbon fiber. 6mm ARC is my favorite to shoot. There you go. Mandatory carry says 50 BMG is a great round, but it's not the best round. And that's what's all reacted to. And that's cool. My favorite is 338 Lapua that I have shot. Well, I should say this. Okay, so my favorite is 3.38 Lapua. But if I had to say, if I answer the question that I actually asked, what do I enjoy? I think I enjoy the 300 Winchester mag, the Win Mag, 300 Win Mag. I think I enjoy shooting the Win Mag. That's a beast of a freaking round.
It definitely lets you know you're alive. That's for sure.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's we're talking straight up enjoyment. I think that if I had to choose a long range cartridge to go do something, I'd probably choose 338 Lapua. But just having fun, I do enjoy a 50. I've shot a lot of 50 in my day. I do enjoy a 50, but I really, I think you're right. The way you put it is you're going to know you're alive shooting that 300 Win Mag. It's a fun round to shoot. I think I would probably, and honestly, I thought that would probably be the one that wins. 6.5 Creed being the winner was not expected whatsoever. Not saying I love the 6.5 Creed, but I would have put it at least behind the 300 Win Mag, the 50 BMG, and the 338 Lapua.
Yeah, but you gotta factor in. You've got to factor in the popularity of cartridges, and the 6.5 Creed. If it was switches the most popular, 6.5 would win that. I think hands down against everything else on the list. So I mean, it's not uncommon, or it's not abnormal for me. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. So 223 DMR and Pete said the 408 Shy Tac will shoot circles in the 50.
Yeah,
great. The which one did Charlie shoot that was based off the Shy Tac that we shot of
408 Tejas, wasn't it?
Tejas, yeah. And it was a Wildcat based off the Shy Tac. But yeah, I mean, great round. But once again, you're talking about a cartridge that probably very few people have shot. So I try to put ones that were out there, like Clover said, some popular rounds that people may have or know someone.
Yeah, and
all that.
And that's the thing too with the 6.5. You start getting into when you start talking 338 Lapua, 300 Win Mag, 300 Weatherby Mag. When you start talking, I mean, to me, those are nothing cartridges, right? But for the vast majority of people, they've never shot them, never even seen them, let alone shot them, and likely never will for the rest of their life. And so,
true.
You know, again, you get back into the 6.5 being a common thing, so it makes sense.
And it's probably now, but you know, a year and a half ago, a 6.5 you could get for almost the same price as 223. You know. Where you're talking about at one point the 338 Lapua was going and the BMG were going for $5 a round easy. 6.5 Creed you could get for a quarter a round, you know,
right?
At most 50 cents a round at most for now it's whatever, but yeah. Sean says a 375 Shy Tac is a beast. I've only shot the 408 before. I don't have much experience with it. But I've never heard anyone really talk bad about the Shy Tac calibers and cartridges. Everyone I've heard that has shot them on a regular basis say they're pretty damn good. So
yeah. Shy Tac's solid. It has always been solid. If they come out with something, it's the real deal.
Yeah. Sean says if you hunt big game out west, 300 Win Mag or 7mm Rim Mag are probably the most popular used. 338 223 says 338 Magnum is also. I have actually shot 338 Magnum.
Yep.
I like the Lapua Magnum a little bit better, but that's just me. That's just a personal thing. The first time I ever hit 1,000-yard shot was with a 338 Lapua. So it's one of those things where you know you remember certain things and you're going to have fond memories and you're going to have fond thoughts of whatever. And that's probably why 338 Lapua has kind of always been my go-to. Is that's the first really, you know, stretching the legs out. And 1,000 yards isn't really that far, but it is, especially if you've never done it before. That was the first time I ever shot 1,000 yards, and so I'll always have an affection for 338 Lapua. And my dream rifle will be a McMillan 338 Lapua. I don't know if I'll ever have that or not, but that would be You know, if I ever had that, I'd be like, okay, I'd rather have a Macmillan 3.3 LePoux than I would a 50 BMG. It is what it is.
Depends on the 50 BMG, but yeah.
This is true too. This is true too. This is true. But yeah. So that's the polls. Thank you guys for voting. I have fun with those, and I put some weird ones out there, I know, and I try to have fun with them, but I always try to put a firearm related poll out there that we have fun with. But I think people have liked it, you know. Go ahead.
So I'm going to complain because we've spent nearly an hour between you thinking too hard and the polls. We burned nearly an hour of the show just in that. So
sure,
the people out there are not getting what they paid for here. I'm just saying.
They haven't paid for shit, so they're getting free entertainment. No, but I think a lot of people have enjoyed it. I've been getting a lot of emails and stuff saying, "Hey, I really haven't enjoyed going through the polls." That's why I put them first. People might leave, and that's okay. But I think people enjoy the polls. Try to have fun. The world is way too serious right now. There's a lot of bullshit going on right now, and sometimes it's okay to have a little fun and just talk.
It gives
here,
structure to the show. You know what I mean? Which is nice too. It's not just free for all. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Which there's nothing wrong with free for all every now and then, but
no. We had one last week and I had a great time doing it. But yeah. Now Pete says he was at a gun shop in Utah and they had a Ma Deuce and a Lewis gun for sale. What do they want for either one of them? But that Ma Deuce, I want to see what those are running for. Oh yeah, way too much. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Rich said, speaking of polls on his show on Sunday, they answered whether tomato paste is a jam or a jelly, and jam won. So you were right. Didn't you say jam last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, so it would be more jam. Yes.
So 99,000 for the Ma Deuce. That's actually cheaper than what I thought it would be. Especially in today's market, I thought it'd be well over 100,000. Let's see here. Jacob says only public range downtown machine gun rental with an M16A2 is $50. Ammo is $10 for 30 round magazine. 9mm. What? M16A2 is 5.56, my friend. Unless he's just talking maybe like an AR that's chambered in 9mm.
Maybe.
But maybe. But yeah. I don't know.
That's 60. So that would be $60 to burn 30 rounds.
$60, including the rental of $50 and then $10 for 30 round magazine.
I think I would do without shooting a full auto because it's just me. Full auto. Okay.
Well, and remember the
full
M16 is 3 round burst.
So there's a reason. There's a reason they call it the giggle switch. And if somebody else is paying for it, is it fun?
Then you have fun.
Absolutely. But if I've got to pay for that, I'll do without. I'll go shoot something else. There's tons of more stuff I'm going to get just as much enjoyment out of not just burn through ammo. It's just, makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, there
are people, we know people.
Maybe $60 is worth it if you've never shot one just to know what it's like. But I would say this, if you're going to spend that kind of money, go try to find someone that has a full auto AK-47. That'll be worth the $50 or $60 because that's fun. And a full auto AK is a really fun gun to shoot. But a 3-round M16 is what's up?
I said we know a lot of people that at SHOT Show Range Day they spend their entire day up on the hill. They basically go just to shoot the machine guns over and over and over and over and over again. It's not about checking out new guns or anything else. They go just to shoot the full auto.
That's it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But
no, there's nothing wrong. But there are people that truly go to range day to shoot the Chris Vector.
Oh, you've got to shoot that.
And it's fun. It's great.
Yeah,
but
it's amazing.
That's not why I go.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot it every year, but that's not why I go. But yeah, if you've never experienced, If you've never
Usually the end
experienced
of the
a
day for
full
me.
auto Vector, then that's something you got to put on your bucket list, because a 30 round magazine in a Vector will take you about 1.3 seconds.
Yeah. Burp. Burp.
You're done. Yeah. Now Buck's bringing up again the Tulsa Gun Show had a 44 Magnum. No, it was 357 or was it 44? I can't remember. It's either 40. I think there's a 357 lever action for $35,000 that Buck almost bought when he thought it was $350. Didn't realize that the other two zeros were not after a decimal point. But yes, there were, and that's the cheap gun compared to a lot of stuff that's at Tulsa. You can find stuff for whatever you want to pay at Tulsa. There was a cannon there a few years ago. Remember that? A legit cannon.
Yeah, that somebody bought.
A howitzer. Yeah, someone bought. There was a howitzer, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, you can. There's stuff well over $100,000 at Wanamaker every
Gatling
time.
guns.
Gatling guns. Yep. Sean says full auto is fun the first 10 times. After that, it makes 0 sense. Absolutely, I agree. I'm fortunate my dad gave him an M16A2 lower. Interesting. Did put a let's see here. He put full auto instead of a 3-round burst. I haven't shot it in almost 7 years. Just to have one would be cool. But yeah, I like a 3-round burst better than a full auto in a combat warrior type situation. A 3-round burst, you're going to be able to stay on target a lot more. That's just me, but yeah. Jacob says he wants to get a 357 lever action or a Smith & Wesson 686. So if you had that choice, Clover, and it came down to you had the money for one and only one, 357 lever action or the 686. That's a tough one for you, I bet.
And I don't have any other firearms already.
No. These are going to be your first. Yeah. This is going to be something that you're new, and you might have a couple like a shotgun or something, but it's going to be your first revolver or lever action.
I would probably go with a revolver.
Yep. Yeah. Rich says he wants one of those 9mm Gatling guns just for the hell of it. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. I'm in. So did you hear about the proposal that they're trying to get in several different states about either lowering or doing away with any age restrictions for buying firearms? Have you heard about this?
Well, I've heard of several lawsuits and things going on from those 18 to 21 years of age. I've heard a lot of stuff with that, and it makes sense. And that's going to be, especially since they've been passing laws that, lately and stuff that say bumping up the age for everything to 21, everything, even long guns. That's going to be interesting because there's really no way around that. I mean, if you could vote at 18, serve in the military, blah, 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 that's going to have ramifications big time. I mean, I see drinking ages potentially coming down and all kinds of stuff.
Smoking age just went up to 21. So go figure. Once again, you can serve in the military, but you can't smoke now.
Yeah.
Seriously? Now, but this one is saying that they would either there's some people trying to eliminate age at all. 10-year-old wants to go in and buy a gun, put it in his name or her name. What do you say about that? If lowering it or just doing away with age restrictions at all? Are you for that? I mean, what do you think?
No. I mean, I'm totally fine with the whole 18 thing. I'm totally fine even if you've got a 16 or a 17-year-old that is emancipated, right?
Sure.
I would technically be okay. But the idea of some quote unquote child dependent upon parents, and then the way parenting is nowadays, which is virtually non-existent, that some kid that's 12 years old can just walk into a gun shop, buy a gun and some ammo and go do some stuff. No. If we were in a perfect world where everybody was an actual parent, then I
That's
wouldn't
a
really have a problem with it. But so my problem is not with the kids. I'm not dogging on the kids. I'm saying that
it's
there's
just
not
how they're raised. Yeah.
Are there tons and tons of kids out there that I would never in the world have a problem with? Absolutely, you bet. I could probably name 24 off the top of my head real quick, with shooting sports and everything else. But parenting is just not where it needs to be for that.
Yeah, I would say this. I don't think that they should just do away with any age restrictions. I would say this. Mandatory care says, got to go hit the rack early day tomorrow. Take care, buddy. Be safe out there.
So draw the line at a driver's license at the very
I would
very
say
least.
16. That's what I'm saying. I would say 16. If the government trusts you to drive a car,
right,
then
maybe.
Now, there's a lot of people that say they should raise the age of a license to 18, and I don't necessarily disagree with that either. I think there are a lot of 16-year-olds that are not ready for the responsibility of driving a car.
But understand, in order to get a license at 16, you have to go through driver's education and all the other stuff, and that license is still provisional. So a lot of people don't think that. They think that 16-year-old, you just got a full-fledged. No, you don't. And if you think it is, go ask your insurance company if you've got 16-year-olds. And you'll find out real quick it ain't the same.
Actually, I think until they're 24 is when the break for insurance.
Right. Well, but there's even a
the cost.
There's multiple. Yeah, there's multiple breaks. But 21 I think for girls or something, and 24 for boys. Yeah. But the 16 to 18, there's a break there too when you're talking about insurance.
Yeah. I do want to send a shout out to Jacob S. He says money's going to be tight for a while, but he just became a homeowner. So congratulations for buying a home, investing in your future. Congratulations, young man. Proud of you. But I have no problem if with 10-year-olds, whatever, shooting a gun. I have no problem with that if they've been taught right, they're under supervision and all that. But I don't want some 10-year-old to go save up his paper route money for a whole year and then walk into a gun shop and say, hey, I want to buy that AR over there. I have a problem. I'm sorry. I have a problem with that. But I would not mind the 16-year-old. I think if the government trusts you to drive a car, then they should be able to trust you with other things.
The under 18, let's be honest, right? A child that works all summer mowing lawns, paper route, whatever, multiple summers even. It's probably a responsible child. Probably also has pretty good parents, right?
Yep.
So let's give the parents of good children credit for being good. Now there are really good children that break that mold that have terrible parents and they're good children regardless. But good children tend to have good parents. Just the way it is. And so what good parent is not going to say, okay, well, let's go down. And it's, I'm the one buying it, right? It's mine, but you feel what I'm saying. I mean,
no doubt.
everybody has done that, whether you've bought one that's quote unquote for your kid for Christmas or whatever. And the 4473 is in your name, but theoretically, right? Sure. Technically it is mine. Theoretically, it's there.
I'm sure you've had a gun since you can remember that was your gun, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just one of those where, and this is where it's tough, though. This is where it's really difficult when you start talking about blanket ages for anything, whether it's guns or voting or alcohol or tobacco or driving. Because there's always exceptions on the good side and the bad side of whatever age you're talking about for whatever you're talking about. There's always exceptions to those. But from a governing standpoint, you've got to throw a blanket over an age that covers the vast, vast majority of whatever you're trying to do. But once again, like you said, there's going to be kids that are going to transcend ages. There are going to be kids that are 12 years old that can literally have a conversation with any 50-year-old and hold their own in any subject. There's just those kids. There are 50-year-olds that can't hold a conversation with the average 12-year-old. Let's be honest about it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those that it is what it is. But yeah, I think that this is just me. I think that I would probably not like seeing the just absolutely no restriction on ages to buy a firearm. I don't think that's smart. I don't think, no offense, once again, like you said, there are someone out there that would be the average 10-year-old. I don't think would understand what it means to be a responsible gun owner. That's just me.
The average, no, probably.
The average 10-year-old would not understand. I don't want some kid playing Call of Duty walking and say, man, I love that gun. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to go buy that gun, the gun shop, and be able to do that. I don't think that's a smart thing. It is what it is. So Elfster, interesting.
Yeah.
So, did you receive an email at 2 a.m. this morning from your YouTube saying your video isn't appropriate for those under the age of 18? I got 2 of them last night. One was a SHOT Show vid. I did not. I've never gotten that video. I did have an Instagram post taken down, but I never have. If I have, it's gone to my spam and I haven't seen it. But I don't remember ever seeing a video that's come that says that it's not age appropriate. I don't know. Have you?
No, I talked to, not to my knowledge, I'm a little special situation though, but I talked to Snob actually today because I got one of his videos, but was able to get one of his videos put back up. He had a shorts that got, and he actually got a warning, how they do the community warning thing. Yeah. But anyway, I got all that reversed for him. Yeah,
now it was an age appropriate. So Snob had an age appropriate.
No, he had it taken down for community.
He had taken it down for community guidelines.
That one, but I was talking with him about it, and he said he got a video recently that was age gated like that. So my first thing, as Elster's out there saying, get ready for it. First thing that's been going on for the longest. Most of what people are seeing, it's just happened. It's just not happened in a way where people have noticed it and they've sent notifications out on it, kind of the same way with the yellow icon thing and the limited ad stuff. So people just don't understand it. Second of all, I mean, overall grand scheme of things, go look at your audience demographics, and I mean, it's irrelevant. It's not a hill that we need
if you got a large audience
with
under 18, then that's weird to begin with in our niche.
It really is. But yes, it's not. I mean, we've got much bigger fish to fry that are problematic. That is a nothing blip compared to, especially right now, monetization issues and then community guideline issues for sure. So, I hate to say that. I mean, I sound crass and everything when people break up the age gating thing, but it's like, let it go. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Let's fight the fights worth fighting.
Yep. I ask myself that many times a day. I give myself one fight per day. Like this, say I'm all in. I'm going to defend this. I'm going to fight for this. So if something gets to my nerves throughout the day, I'll say, is this the battle I want to fight today? Is this the one? And most of the time it's not. One of the greatest things, and this is not on Elfster or anyone else, but if you're fired up about something and you're just blah, blah, and I'm going to write a letter, I'm going to write an email, freak them and all that, write the email. Don't hit send until the next morning. If you wake up the next morning and you still feel just as strong about that email that you wrote 12 hours or 8 hours ago, then send it. Chances are the next day you're going to read that email and say, God, I was really fired up last night. I don't think I'm going to say that. But if it was good enough for 3 o'clock in the morning, it'll be good enough for 9 o'clock the next morning. Sometimes fighting that fight might be the best thing to do is sit there and say, look, I want you to write that email because that's where your energy, that's where your passion, that's where your emotions are coming from at that moment. Just don't hit send yet. Wake up the next morning, read that email and say, do I really want to send this? And if the answer is yes, send it. Chances are you probably won't. Rich says he got a copyright claim for using a song that the U.S. Navy banned released as public domain. Here's the thing. The U.S. Navy banned, and I have some stuff that the Marine Corps banned releases public domain. Here's the thing. The Navy band might have released this public domain, but someone might have published it on a CD. It's been published under a CD that the Navy didn't publish. They might have put it on a patriotic CD or something like that to the public. Even though that song is supposed to be public domain, it was published by a publisher out there somewhere, somehow, technically. So there's a really lot of gray area. And here's the thing. You can write an author, the writer or the composer. Let's say if you want to put like Highway to Hell, you can contact AC/DC and they can give you permission. But they may not have the rights to do that. They have publishers' rights. You have the person that actually owns the rights to their music. You have the writers. There's so many different people that are involved with a song that unless you've got a serious amount of money and cash to burn on a lawyer to get all of these people to agree that it's okay to put on your YouTube video, it probably ain't worth it. Right. It is what it is. Let's see here. Elfster says, problem is I was told if you get 3 of them, it's a strike. More of a heads up. 704 Tactical mentioned he got the same last night. I'm sure a bunch of people have gotten them. And I don't know if 3 of them equal a strike or not.
No. Here's the problem. You're talking about 2 totally different things. You're talking about age restriction versus strikes. Strikes are community issues, right? Well, copyright or community is where you get strikes. Yeah. 2 totally separate parts of YouTube. So there's no possible way they can be related. But let's say for some reason that you get 3 and all that 3rd video, what do they strike the 3rd video, but they don't strike the previous 2? That don't make any sense because it would be the same. So here's the thing. If potentially 3 puts you in a position that you get a community strike, then you need to appeal the community strike because that community strike was not based on community guidelines. That was based on age restriction guidelines, and you would win that appeal. If you don't win that appeal, then you need to contact me ASAP, and we'll work to get that fixed. And Elster's got a kind of a special situation. I'm not going to get off into the weeds on some of that, but it's right there in his name where potentially there are some community issues and definitely some monetization issues, but
with the last word in his name.
I mean, I don't want to go down that road or anything, but I'm just saying he's in kind of a unique sub niche of our community, which is definitely problematic.
Jacob says, looks like you got your content for this week's, I think it's about the Thursday night podcast. There you go. I think we've talked about this before on your nerd chat anyway, so several times.
We have. I don't like getting off into the weeds much on this publicly because I can much better have a private conversation with individual creators and make them understand it. You try to talk this on a live stream, even like now, it's like we need to change the subject because it frustrates me because it's a one-way conversation. Because all they can do out there is type stuff in the side chat, and I can't explain it or actually answer the questions I need to answer related to specifics, and it's horrible. And people walk away without knowing what's going on, and that's counterproductive.
Carolina says CloverTech works for YouTube. No, he'd like to, I think. Maybe one day. That'd be nice. Have a liaison at YouTube.
Work for YouTube? I don't work for YouTube. I don't work for YouTube. No.
One day, maybe. It'd be nice to have you as a liaison.
For. Word there is for. I don't work for YouTube.
I understand. Rich says on Memorial Day show, I used the Navy band's video performance of Taps. The next day, I had a copyright for some company. Yeah, here's the thing. You can use music that is public domain, no copyright issues whatsoever. There are literally these weird ass publishing companies that will throw up copyright claims all the time. all the time, even though they have zero to do with that song or anything. They literally just fish and boom, that's what it is.
Yeah. I had a problem where, you remember, it was way back in the day, but I had an artist I had her permission in writing and everything else to use her content. And all of a sudden I started getting claims, man. I was getting like 3 claims a day. And I was like, what in the world's going on? And it was some company. So anyway, I contacted her and she didn't even know. She's like, what do you mean you're getting copyright? What?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, this company says that they represent you and your music. She's like, I've never heard of that company. And so I hated it because she was letting me use her music. She had to literally go to that company, contact that company, and send that company a letter and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Cease and desist, probably
to make it go away. But yeah, they were. I'm doing air quotes here. They were claiming on quote on her behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, right.
Yep. YouTube doesn't know.
No.
YouTube's gonna say, well, someone's put this.
YouTube does not get involved in it.
So they're gonna get all of the monetization money. That's what they're doing. They're trying to make 6 cents here, 10 cents on this video, 11 cents, but they do this on 1 million videos and they're making $1 off of all of them.
YouTube,
because no one's gonna question.
YouTube is pretty hands off. I mean, obviously they've got policy around copyright, but they're pretty hands off when it comes to copyright. It's usually between whoever's using the content and whoever the creator of that original creator of that content is. They hash it out, and usually it's okay, you've used it, can you prove that you are liable for using it? If you're not liable, then it goes away. If you are liable, then it goes into, does that person want to claim the revenue? And they can do that on several, whether it's a share or all of it. Or do they want to actually give you a strike? If you are dead set at not taking the content down, that's usually when you get a strike. Is you're like, you get a claim and then you fight the claim and you lose the claim, then you end up getting a strike sometimes.
Yep. Word to the wise out there. If you get a copyright claim, you'll get an email and says, this has nothing to do with your channel status. It doesn't do anything. It's just, you're either going to have to share revenue or you're not eligible for revenue. Let it go. They're not going to, if they don't take the video down, you're just not going to make any money on it. Let it go. Let the revenue, that 11 cents that you might make on that video, let it go somewhere else. It's not worth fighting because chances are you don't have the money or the time to fight a copyright claim. It's just the reality of it. Let it go.
Gizzard's got a good point.
I was going to say, Gary has a great point. Yeah. He says, royalty-free music in YouTube is for YouTube, not necessarily if you put it on other platforms. Now, that being said, the vast majority you're not going to have issues with, but the sentiment is correct.
Yeah.
If it's in the YouTube library, it's safe.
Yeah.
But it may not be if you put on Instagram or Gunstreamer or Full 30 or even your own website, technically.
And I've seen this with
a YouTube video. Yeah.
And I've seen this with other creators. It's not necessarily even safe. Even then, things come in and out of the free YouTube library. So
That's
somebody that submitted their stuff into the free YouTube library can actually revoke that, can pull that out. And if they do, then you've used it in 1,000 videos. They could potentially claim it at that point, even though you used it in good faith while it was in the library. So it's a very fluid thing when you deal with copyright. It's very messy. There's a ton of gray area. And like I said, that's why for the most part, YouTube don't get involved in it.
What you also need to take in consideration is the good thing about that is, let's say that XYZ song was in the YouTube library with no restrictions. Okay. And for all these years, for 5 years, and then all of a sudden they take it out. They can go back and they know, YouTube will know the date that song was pulled. They can go back and say, all of these videos, they've got to be good because they were published before that date that it was pulled. But you got to be careful. They can also not just pull it, but they can do it to where it used to be you didn't have to acknowledge them in your description. They can change that to where now you've got to put this little,
That's true.
and if you don't know that, attribution. But if you don't know that it's gone from nothing to this attribution,
yep,
be careful. You know,
but you're right. I don't know how that.
But yeah,
I don't know how that system works. But you're right. They don't know. They don't know when you downloaded it necessarily, but they would definitely know when you uploaded that video, right? So you published that video a year before this person pulled it from the thing, right? So I don't know this, but I would think there would be a restriction on them being able to even claim that, right? Yeah. But how many people? Here's where you got to be careful, because I do this. How many people download multiple tracks out of there and they're in a folder, and they just go in there and use them? I don't download the same thing every single time from the YouTube library to make sure that it's even still in there. So I could be using stuff from 2-3 years ago that may not even be in there anymore. Right. So I've never had a problem, other than that's the funny thing. I've never had a problem except for the one chick that I had a literal email giving me her blessing to use her stuff. I've never had a problem.
The only problems that I have had are problems that I knew were coming.
Oh yeah, that's
like I literally put Bob Marley in some stuff and the Beatles, and I literally put those in some videos, knowing, and I didn't monetize it, knowing that it was gonna get a claim. Here's the thing. So I found this out one time. This is a couple years ago. If you try to monetize something knowing that it's going to get a copyright claim,
there's a copyright check now. It's a pre-check.
Yeah, I understand that, but this is a year or two ago. But if you try to monetize something knowing that it's probably going to get a claim, they can take that down before it even goes public. They can do that. But if you go and not turn monetization on and then submit knowing it's going to get a claim, they'll claim it, but they'll at least make it eligible to be seen. Sometimes that was my experience with it. But just be careful. Just be careful, because copyright law, it's very fine lines. Gray areas are crazy.
Yeah,
but it could be incredibly expensive to fight. And copyright's no joke. There's a reason why there are lawyers that dedicate their lives to copyright law.
Yeah. Well,
it's pretty serious stuff.
If you have it for an intro or something like that, it's one thing, right? Because you can always go back and mute it. But I've had people literally in my videos go, "Why don't you use background music?" and blah, 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 blah. And that's one of the reasons I don't like the idea of background music. Is because if I have to mute that, right, for a copyright reason later on down the road, that's one track on that video. It's not multiple audio tracks anymore. And I would have to mute the entire thing. So, I mean, other than maybe subtitles, and I don't even know if you would have to put in your own subtitles, because the automated wouldn't work. Because the automated is automatically reading it. So you would have to go in and put subtitles. That's redoing a whole video. That would suck, man.
There are people that I'll see that go live from their car, and we've all done it. Driving down the road, hey, I'm gonna go live because I'm gonna be on the road for 3 hours. I might as well go live and have a chat. And something will have the radio on the background, like whatever. And for 3-hour chat, you hear nothing but Journey and Metallica and all this stuff. You're like, oh my God. And it may not ever get caught, but it can get caught by 11 different freaking publishers.
So I've got a video. It's old, and in fact, I don't think it's up on the channel anymore. If it is, it's definitely got a claim. But it was a video, and I had AOL radio on, right? And it wasn't very, very loud, but I had AOL radio on in the background.
You said AOL and G-Webs just showed up, so go figure.
It was AOL radio, and it was a shotgun press video showing something about a shotgun press or something. It was a reloading video. And it got hit because of that. Now it stayed on YouTube for the longest before it got hit, but it finally got hit with I don't remember if it was a claim or a strike. At this point, it's been so many years ago. But what I was going to say is I was watching the channel the other day, and this guy was in an antique store, and all of a sudden, he just like stopped talking and it muted, the video muted. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? And then it comes on and you can tell it's a voiceover, right? And he's like, I'm sorry, but in editing, I had to voice this over because I realized that they've got the radio playing on the intercom.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I've already got a copyright claim on a previous video because I was in a store filming and whatever, the intercom system was playing music. So yeah, be careful if you're out there, if you do things like that. That are picking up the car radio, the intercom system in a store, whatever, it could affect you.
If you're going to Walmart to do filming something or the mall,
best way to do that is to film it. Go ahead and film it like you normally would, right? And then do 100% voiceover, right? But you've got your reaction and what you're saying as you're filming to go on is kind of a script.
You just B-roll almost.
And just B-roll with the more or less B-roll with a voiceover of what you were saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Hell, we've wasted an hour and a half of these people's lives.
Yeah, half hour of it was talking about YouTube stuff. So
it's all good, but we had fun.
Hadn't done a Thursday night in like 3 weeks, and we had a Thursday night on a Tuesday night, apparently.
You got your fix right there for sure. Do you want to talk about all the stuff you got going on with Clover and with the card channel and let people know what's going on with you? Because like I said, you haven't been doing the live, so some people might not be caught up what's going on with you.
We're going to get back around to it. I've taken a hiatus more or less on the Clover Tack. So for those that have stuck around and everything, thank you. I haven't had a couple people bail on Patreon and some channel members and stuff. Probably think that I've quit 2A or quit gun stuff. And, if that's the case, then whatever. But as much frustration and stress and everything as I was under, I needed a break. And so I've been working on building out this second channel. I'm maybe a few weeks,
fourth or fifth channel. Yeah.
My goal is to make sure that this is finished out by in around time, which is the 1st of September. And then, so by the 1st of September at the latest, we should be kicking back off with Clover Tack and getting some things done at the latest. And there'll be some little videos here and there along the way, I'm sure. So, more is coming. I haven't quit 2A, not yet. Close, but not yet.
But if you're interested in trading cards like baseball, basketball, football, hockey, tell people a little bit about the Clover Tack Cards channel because I love it, but I was a sports card freak, so growing up.
Vintage and budget and vintage card breaks, so mainly junk wax era, maybe mostly 80s and early to mid 90s stuff. But with that being said, I picked up some newer stuff and those videos have yet to release. I'm not going to spoiler alert anything, but man, there's been some really good hits in some of the new stuff. I've talked to you personally about it. So and those have, I'm not going to lie, those have went straight to eBay. So but that's another mechanism and part of the Clover Tack cards. We talk about monetization and a lot of other stuff with the gun content. So, the beauty is build this channel up, and then I've got mechanisms. I'm going to have some of my own merchandise and things through the card channel to sell, as well as some of the hits, some of the stuff that comes out of these packs, being able to throw that on eBay and help with revenue and stuff, because that's a big issue, and a lot of people don't realize it. And what I ran into with Clover Tack was I got to a point to where it's like I'm expected to be at these shows. I'm expected to do this, expected to do that. But then when I have monetization issues, and I'm not talking about YouTube monetization issues because YouTube revenue is a drop in the bucket compared to what it costs to do all of this stuff. But as you grow, you start spending money, right, on your channel. And you get used to that certain budget. And then when something catastrophic happens where you have to literally pull several $100s, many hundreds of dollars out of that budget, then you kind of screw yourself in a way. And that's what happened. And I got frustrated from that. And I'm not going to lie to you, almost quit. Not going to, but it almost happened. So,
I told a
The
cowboy
frustration's real.
quit being a puss.
Right. Right. I'm not going anywhere. I wouldn't be here if I was going anywhere, but I'm not. I'm not going anywhere. It's just gonna have
everyone goes through that time. Everyone has that time. It's like I need to get away, or
I'm dropping 1 to 2 videos a day on the CloverTech Car channel. I've got content stacked up almost through the entire month of September at 1 to 2 videos a day. So it's not like I'm sitting around not doing anything. So those that think that I haven't been doing CloverTech because I've been just kicked back in a lawn chair somewhere sipping on a cold one, that could not be further from the truth. I'm working my butt off.
Like to sit back on a lawn chair and
I know, right? But yeah, I've been working my tail off getting this channel built out. So I've been
Mario
staying busy.
says just putting out a video saying you're taking a break. People to understand. You thought about doing that,
Yeah, I didn't want to seem like I was complaining.
If people, and I think at this point,
the majority of viewers don't care.
Yeah, if people want to know if he's taking a break, they can contact him. It's not like they can't find his email address somewhere.
Yeah. And the vast majority, seriously, I mean, I don't know how many you've got watching now, but I mean, a lot of the folks that I see out there, they follow the CloverTech channel too. But the vast majority of people that watch my videos, find it in search, they could freaking care less what my mental state is, whether or not I'm frustrated, whether or not I take a break. If I, go away, never return tomorrow, they could freaking care less. So, that was ultimately why I said, hey, I'm not even gonna worry about putting out a video, talking about it. I'm not even gonna worry about it. Those that are hardened followers that have my cell phone number and can text me, like Ghost said, or have my email, or know that you can contact me through the About page on YouTube or any other DM, PM in social media, those folks can always reach out to me and say, hey, man, you okay? What's going on? And I've had several folks out there, I won't mention any names, that have done that. And thank you to those folks that have done that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Fucking grouchy old man. That's all you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just get your panties in a wad and you just fucking, hey, man.
Well, there's so many things. We could do a whole hour on, golly, you know what I mean? On Sigmund Freud, and I could lay back in the chair and you could use your little clipboard and your notepad, and because the frustrations are real. I mean, you could tell earlier with Elster.
It was real. About 3 weeks ago, when you just about had your meltdown. Yeah, it was real for sure.
But like with Elster out there, I mean,
just go back here and just let you talk, because I know you've done it with me. You allowed me to vent, and I think that was just you trying to vent. And I know that you vent on me than someone else.
The biggest frustration that I have, the biggest one, is other creators that do not understand YouTube and will not take the time to learn it or listen to somebody that has. And that is the biggest thing that's the thing that frustrates me the most. And spoiler alert, it's mostly big YouTubers that are that way. So go figure.
Go figure. Homie, great to have you on as always. Happy anniversary to you. Congratulations to Jacob out there for being a new homeowner. Proud of you, young man. He made a comment out there I thought was hilarious. He says, I didn't buy my first gun until I was 21. What are you, like 22 now? 23 at the most. So yeah. But no, congratulations to Jacob. Thanks everyone for watching earlier live. It was a great conversation. We went down some weird channels, but we had a fun time. We got some gun talk in, got some ammo talk in, and had a little fun doing it. Got some YouTube talk in and all that jazz. But thanks for everyone for watching. And if you're watching and replay or listening to podcasts, like I said, leave those comments below. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead. Feel free to email me or Clover or whatever and ask your questions. We have no problem with that whatsoever. Once again, if you're out there, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. If you're out there and you're needing some help, it was a pretty scary moment there last night. I'm in some of the veteran groups and all that, and one of them is a veteran suicide prevention group that I'm in, and it came across, a notification came across my phone last night, and young man, and said, I need to talk to someone quickly. Can please someone call me, preferably a Marine? Well, there was about 27 or 28 of us, whatever it was, that said, hey, so I put my number in a DM. I said, check your messages. I sent a DM and all that. And it's really nice to see when you think you're alone and you think that no one's out there to help, how quickly the troops, quote unquote, can be rallied behind you. So once again, the whole thing is you're never alone, no matter what you think you are. And I say this to people, try to be a better person. If you see someone struggling, sometimes say, hey, how are you doing? Everything okay? Sometimes just that might be the only correspondence they have with a human being that entire day. If you see someone struggling, man, just try to be a better human being. And one of the coolest things I ever heard was from Marcus Luttrell. And it was talking about, and I'm going on a little rant here, I'm sorry, but this kind of just popped in my head. I thought it was a very good one. One of the things that I love about Marcus. But he was talking about Veterans Day. And he's like, someone asked us, like, well, do you like Veterans Day? And he goes, no, I really don't. I feel like weird during Veterans Day. Like, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't like people come up and saying thank you and all that. I didn't do it for the thanks and all of that. And no one really does. I hope not, at least. But this guy was interviewing. He said, what can people do instead of saying thank you to a veteran? What can people do to say thank you without saying thank you? And he looked this guy dead in the eye and says, be a better American. Be an American that the veterans would be proud of serving for. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, that's fucking profound.
Yep.
So be a better American. There's a lot of bullshit going on in our country. Whether or not you politically agree with someone should be no reason to lose friendships anymore. There are people that in our lives have lost friendships because of their political affiliation, whether or not they want to wear a fucking mask, whether or not they want to get vaccinated. There are friendships being lost over stupid shit. Be a better American. Have a little compassion for people. More importantly, just treat people nicely. And if you see someone struggling, sometimes a handshake, a pat on the back, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Your interaction with them might be the only interaction they get all day, and it could save their lives. Go ahead.
And I got to think, live your life, right? It's like people get so wrapped up with the 24/7 news cycle and every little tidbit of news that comes across. And it's like, get outdoors, go for a jog, go hunting, go fishing, go skiing or tubing, whatever, ice skating, whatever. You find something that's your thing and go enjoy life and do it, and quit letting the mundane beatdown from mainstream media and stuff and social media and things like that get to you. Live life, man. It's the greatest country. I said it. I told the guy this earlier. It's like we live in the greatest country on the planet, the safest country on the planet. It's like, go out and live your life.
On your worst day, the average American on their worst day lives like a king compared to other places.
The worst American. Yeah.
That's you know what I'm saying?
The homeless person on the street. It's like there are countries I'm sure in Africa where they wish they had dumpsters of food that they could climb over and get. You know what I mean? It's like even those people live like
you can live in Beirut. You could live in Beirut.
Like they wish they had soup kitchens and homeless shelters, and you know what I mean? They don't even have that.
$1 tacos. You get $1 when you go buy a taco. I mean,
right.
You know what I'm saying? All sorts of stuff. But yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I didn't mean to get on a rampant, but I just wanted to, that was one of those, just be a better American. Like, be an American that the veterans would be proud to serve for. I was like, damn, that's really awesome. Buck says, Glover, where do you go ice skating in Texas heat? The Galleria in Dallas has an ice skating rink. Just saying.
But I was just throwing that out there for people that live in different parts of the country. I don't ever go I wouldn't go ice skating if there were a place to go ice skating here. No, not happening.
Right. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna. Rich, I see it. I don't want to go down to the rabbit hole. I gotta get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. We could go on for 3 hours if I open the Pandora's box. That is. So, thanks for watching, Clove. Thanks as always, my friend, for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week. Semper Fi.